everyone. I'm Rejoice on Umatta Consulting Podcast. Today we have the privilege of speaking with Talila. She is the managing director of Miltech, and we have the pleasure of speaking with her. I would love for her to introduce herself, and then we'll dive right into the question. Talila, the mic is yours.
Oh, hi, Rejoice. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Talila Milman. I'm a technology executive, advisor, author, and speaker. I empower CEOs and C-suite leaders to drive growth and optimize technology delivery through my consultancy, Milman Tech. And I also am an author of this book, The Triumph Framework, 7 Steps to Leading Organizational Transformation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Can you share a bit about your background and what led you to become a transformational leader in business and technology?
So my journey as a transformation leader really started out of necessity. It was a survival mechanism. I was just trying to save my job and the jobs of 150 people working with me. I was a director of engineering in a Fortune 500 company. And at the time, our division was doing really well from a revenue and profit margin perspective, but our customers were not happy.
Hmm.
You see, our innovation cycles were really slow. They were like 12 to 18 months for new releases, and customers were not happy. I was concerned that they would just leave and our business would be shut down. So I knew we had to adapt to survive. So I spearheaded the adoption of agile methodologies, which sped up our delivery and our development and improved our cross-department collaboration. The real challenge was not in the process and was not in the technology. It was with rallying people behind the change.
Hmm.
I built alliances, I negotiated with other teams, and I earned trust by prioritizing the company's success, even when it meant resources for my own team were fewer. So this was really a pivotal experience for me. We not only saved the business, but we thrived. And it propelled me to roles like VP of engineering and eventually CTO. And through it all, I learned that transformation is not about processes. It's not about technology. It's really about people,
Hmm.
about culture. It's about trust. And those lessons inspired me to create the Triumph framework. It's a 7-step guide to help leaders navigate change and uh, and scale businesses. And today, that's what, as a fractional CTO, consultant, and advisor, I help businesses scale and transform by applying these principles.
Amazing, amazing. I love your story, and I love the part you describe culture, people, and trust in change management, which is always crucial for people to be aware. Can you break down a little bit about the Trump framework and how it applies to business transformation?
So the Triumph framework is really it's a repeatable set of steps to help leaders navigate transformation, whether it's digital, operational, or organizational. So the first step, and Triumph is really, it's an acronym. T stands for think and get to the
Mm.
root cause. Most failed transformations stem not from uh, a technical or operational problem. They stem from solving the wrong problem. The first step is understanding the real challenge before rushing into action. The other thing is the next one is R, which is really recognize the stakeholders and form alliances, because change is really not, as we said, it's a lot about it's a lot about people. It's not a solo effort. You need to identify and engage the right people from the get-go, and this is crucial for success. The next one is I, right? We did T, R, now is I. I is ideate a plan. Many companies make the mistake of repeating past failures, and Triumph emphasizes crafting a future focused strategy while learning from history. And I called it Ideate a Plan because the important thing is really to set up the vision and the strategy and take small steps towards reaching the goal without sticking to a very, very rigid plan. You need to be able to play with it and see how it works out, as long as you have the vision and the idea in place. U is unwavering communication. And one of the main reasons change initiative fail is poor communication.
Hmm.
Leaders must be transparent, they must be consistent, and they must be clear about the change. M is mobilize grassroots support. I believe the transformation don't just happen from the top down. You need champions in all levels to build momentum. And that's what mobilized grassroots support is about. P is put the plan into action. This is about execution. And H is hone the plan as you go, because no plan is perfect, right? Nothing is
Exactly.
perfect. You
Nothing.
have nothing. We make mistakes and it's
Yes.
okay. We must iterate, we must adjust, and we must refine based on the real world feedback.
Amazing. Amazing. I love how you describe the framework for your book. And I think it's exciting. Everyone out there should go and grab it and read what it's
Thank
all
you.
about
Thank
because
you.
it sounds amazing. How do you see AI impacting small and medium sized businesses today?
So the main thing to understand is that AI is not no longer just for big businesses. It's really leveling the playing field for small and medium-sized businesses. It enables them to automate repetitive tasks, reducing cost and improving efficiency. You can analyze vast amount of data in real time to make smarter decisions, and you can personalize customer experiences, allowing small businesses to compete with large brands. There was a recent study that was published by a company called Paychex, and they said that 72% of small businesses have a positive outlook on AI, and 40% experience revenue growth. Revenue, I know this is amazing.
Amazing.
Yes, they also said that 66% reported increased productivity. But I think the 40% of revenue growth, to me, I mean, that's what you want, right? You want revenue
Exactly.
growth and you want to get it fast and for a small price. So here you go. I do want to say that it's despite its benefit, most businesses struggle with AI implementation because they lack a clear strategy, and that's where the Triumph framework helps. It's guide companies through AI adoption methodically and strategically.
Amazing. I love those statistics you shared. I know paychecks very well. And I'm so happy they did this study to also highlight the revenue piece, not just the HR piece, the human interactions, the productivity, but also revenue, which is also a business case for leaders to consider.
So I have an example of a company that started from scratch with AI, and they did fantastically. I think this is really a big use case of why to use AI. I don't know. Have you heard about a company called Lemonade?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay. So this is an insurance. I have not heard about them before. Um, doesn't matter, but their story is really, really amazing. They're an insurance company, and they started in either 2015 or 2016, and from the get-go they use AI, and they use AI in several ways. So they use AI for claims processing. They introduce a claims bot named Jim. I know, which can process insurance claim in as little as 3 seconds. I mean, can you imagine it? Traditional insurance claims often take weeks
Right.
due to manual processing and paperwork. They also have AI, another chatbot called Maya, yeah,
Wow.
to replace humans insurance agents by helping users sign up for insurance within minutes.
Wow.
It, yeah, I know. I mean, it personalizes policy recommendation based on customer responses. And they have AI pricing models for dynamic pricing based on risk assessment, which leads to more competitive premiums.
Exactly.
And the interesting thing is how it helped them grow. So they started, I don't remember, it was 2015 or 2016. They quickly scaled to multiple countries, including the US, Germany, and France. And they scaled, they had over 2.4 million customers.
Cow. That's
Yeah.
amazing number to reflect on as they
Yes.
grew.
And according to a presentation from, I think it was from November that I saw, over 700,000 customers are on a wait list for Lemonade car insurance when it becomes available in their region. I mean, can you imagine?
Exactly, exactly. The results are there. Um,
Yeah. So if you think about these key takeaways for business, so AI can reduce operational cost and improve efficiency by automating repetitive tasks, right? It can drive it can help with customer service and personalization, and you can use predictive analytics and fraud detection. This is another thing that I didn't mention about them. They use AI to detect anomalies and potential fraud by analyzing patterns in claims data.
Amazing.
Yeah, so if you look at, and they had a really good success in the stock market. They went public in 2020 and raised over 300 million in its IPO. So overall, it's a real example. It's a publicly traded company, and their success is very much due to AI, which just proves how AI can help really small companies.
Exactly, exactly. And I just love this story. It's amazing what they have been able to do. And even the clients that are on the waiting list is also
Yeah.
a testament of how great they have been able to utilize AI to grow. What are some common challenges that businesses face when trying to scale?
Scale is not just about getting more customers and growing your employees and getting more capital. It's really about handling complexities, right?
Right.
Because when you scale, it just things become harder to manage. So for instance, companies are facing operational bottlenecks, decision paralysis, customer experience, scaling sales and marketing, and AI can really help with each one of them, right? With operational bottlenecks, it can automate and streamline processes like invoicing and customer support and HR. In terms of decision paralysis, AI can provide real-time data analysis, keeping leaders helping leaders make faster and smarter choices. In terms of customer experience, you have chatbots and recommendation engines that personalize interactions without human overhead. And in terms of scaling sales and marketing, it can help identify high value customers and optimize pricing. So overall, AI can really help, but we have to remember that it's not a silver bullet, right? It must be strategically integrated to ensure it aligns with the company's long-term goals.
Exactly, exactly. I love your answer. And going along with what you're saying, how should leaders adapt their leadership style to fit this AI era? Do you feel more leaders are prepared for this, or
I think it depends on the type of leader because at the end of the day, what AI does, it's really, we live in an era of disruption, constant innovation. things change in the speed of light almost. Like you wake up in the morning and there's DeepSeek, you wake up in the morning and there's this or there's that, and things just pop up all the time. So you have to be very agile. You have to be able to adapt, and you need to prioritize change management because AI adoption will require shifting mindsets and processes. Um, so, which is where Triumph can really help.
Exactly.
You have to be a strategic thinker, understanding how AI can fit into the organization's goal. You have to emphasize continuous learning because of all these rapid development. You have to build trust and transparency to ensure employees see AI as tool for augmentation, not replacement, and you have to be adaptable. And the other thing that I want to say, and I'm not sure whether this is adapting or not adapting. You know, we talk a lot about emotional EQ, emotional intelligence, right? EQ, and this is something that leaders always need to have, right? AI or no AI. But I think that in the era of AI, when there's so much change and people feel threatened and confused and don't know, this becomes even more important. And the other thing that I think is even more important that leaders always needed and is very, very important is the ability to influence and the ability to storytelling and influence, because again, the same reasons, these are confusing times, this is times of change, and in times of change you have to be able to frame what's happening in the correct way so people will be motivated and would want to participate and not push back. And we've seen a lot of pushback in many places that really, you know, it's not productive. This is the new world, you have to adapt, right?
Exactly, exactly. I love that. And going back to the Trump framework, what are some actionable steps leaders can take to implement these types of frameworks in their organization?
So leaders can systematically implement by following the key steps. So, you know, you have to start with the root cause, right? Think and get to the root cause. Before jumping to solutions, you have to diagnose the real challenge, not just the symptoms. And you need to engage the right stakeholders, which is the second step, right? You need to map up who will be impacted by the change. So, for instance, if rolling out AI in customer service, you need to engage both executive sponsors and you need to engage the frontline customer support team so they will be part of it. You need to build a clear, measurable plan, which is the ideate step. And you need to drive change with communication and support. These are the U and M in the Triumph. U is for you need to craft a transparent communication strategy to align teams, use storytelling to frame change as an opportunity, not a threat, train employees, and provide the support to reduce resistance and make them enthusiastic about the change. You can have Q&A sessions, all hands meeting. There are a lot of ways to communicate, but this is, and you need to build the internal champions to help you drive the message across the board. And of course, you have to execute and adapt.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. Execute and adaptation of what's happening, especially with what you said earlier in your statement. It's a confusing time. Um, you need to tell the story for your people to follow you. We're also interested in learning from you. Do you think AI will create more jobs or displace existing ones? Or how can businesses prepare for this type of shift that's
You
happening?
know, this is a great question because a lot of people really fear
Mhm.
AI. There was a Pew Research earlier in the year that showed that workers are really worried. I think it was like 52% were worried about AI's future impact, and only 6% believe that AI will improve their job prospects. But if you take a historical perspective, I mean, this is like a revolution, right? This is a
Yes,
technological revolution. So you have to look at what happened in the past when there were technological revolution. If you think about the industrial revolution, 80 or 90% of all Americans were farmers.
right. Very
Today, how many farmers do you have? Less than
not that
10%,
many.
maybe 6% or 2%. I don't remember. Nothing, right?
Yes,
But people are still employed. What are they doing? They have other jobs, right? They are mechanics, they're engineers, they're investment bankers, they are podcasters, there are other jobs. So just because farming jobs are not that prevalent, there are other jobs that were created to support the new reality. If you think about internet, oh, I think internet is a great example. Why? Because internet did impact jobs. If you think about, I always like to give the example of travel agents.
yes,
Remember, we used to, I don't know if you remember, but there were times when you wanted to do a trip, you would go to a travel agency, they would show you prospect, they would show you all these brochures, and they would book the airline travel, they would book the hotels, you had to rely on their recommendations. Today you go to the internet, I don't know what you like, Travelocity, Momondo, Expedia, whatever, and you do everything online. You don't talk to anybody. And then you go to ChatGPT and it'll give you a travel itinerary and
right.
what you should see in each and every location. So people that used to work as travel agents
Mhm.
for the retail industry, their job is, I mean, I think there are still people out there, but not a lot.
Not that
So,
many.
but think about all the jobs that were created by the internet: web designers, um, engineers,
Coding.
SEOs. Yeah. There's so many new jobs that were created by the internet, and so the question is, if you were a small travel agent with a what happened to you? What did you do? You had to shift, right?
Yes.
So, and there was no way around it. Some travel agencies went online and became all these big travel sites. Some could go and become, I don't know, travel bloggers, or uh, so there was a way to, for businesses, there was a way to develop with the internet. You could go to be a business travel agency that still exists and it's thriving. So there were ways for businesses uh, I would say, to evolve from their original retail travel agency to something else that was still within the core expertise. But some of the jobs, to be honest, some of the jobs did disappear, and it wasn't easy for everyone. Some people could not, found it very hard to transfer their skills. So on a business level, you have to be aware of what's happening, and you have to adapt and look at what the future, try to understand where the future is and adapt accordingly. And on the individual level, it's the same. You have to either scale with the business itself, or find something that would be a better fit for your skills, and constantly be aware of what's happening, reskill, upskill, and adapt, because the world is changing whether we want it or not.
Exactly, exactly. I love your examples that you have given us, especially traveling agents. A perfect one. Adapt, transformation of your skill set can be used elsewhere. And this is the time for us to do that.
Yes.
You don't want to wait until there's a conversation from HR or your business leader that maybe or may not be needed, but start out looking for ways that your skills can be implemented in other industries is some great advice. I love that. What piece of advice would you give entrepreneurs who are looking to scale their business today?
Don't scale chaos. Before expanding, you need to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, right? You want to see that your processes are scalable, your leadership is aligned, your tech stack supports growth. Scaling without structure leads to burnout, inefficiency, and unfortunately failure.
That is
So
true.
that's why a framework like Triumph is crucial, because it keeps growth intentional, structured, and sustainable. And that's what you need to do.
Amazing. Awesome advice. Awesome advice. We love everything that's in the book. Everything you're describing in the book is a hit.
Thank you.
We need to read it and we need to implement those frameworks into our business, our entrepreneurship, etc. How can listeners connect with you if they would like to learn more, or where can they find the book?
Okay, so I'd love to connect. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active. I'm sharing leadership and transformation insight, and also tech and AI information on a regular basis. You can also go to my website, www.talilamilman.com. It dives deeper into the Triumph framework. I have a blog, I have book club resources, and I also once in a while host webinars and workshops. So if you are with my LinkedIn, you will be aware of it. And of course, grab the Triumph framework.
Yes.
You can find it on Amazon and every other book venues.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And we appreciate your words of wisdom, your advice, and also sharing your book with us. We'll love to make sure we get a copy, and we appreciate you for being on our show.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking with you, Rejoice. I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.